Hi, this is Allen Gore. I'm a product specialist with Yamaha Corporation of America. I'm here to show the Motif 6. It's our flagship workstation, the first in the Motif line, and a lot of its power comes from the sounds and the ability to record and integrate MIDI and audio in one. Let me give you an example. I'll start off with one of the four main modes, voice mode, which allows you to access the one of over 800 voices inside here. We have everything from a power grand piano. I could come over and quickly select from guitars, acoustic or electric. I have a flamenco guitar. I may want to pull up a stand-up bass. Or I could even quickly come into some drums and play a drum beat. So that's just some of our many voices included inside the Motif 6. From there, we could take these voices and bring them into what's called performance mode. Performance mode allows you to take any of those voices, up to 4 voices, and stack and layer them. Here's an example of how you can do that and make a very cool playable sound. You'll hear I have synthesizers stacked upon an arpeggiating drum beat. So I have 3 different voices going at once. I could quickly say, well, I want to go ahead and create a brass orchestra. So I can layer strings, timpani, cymbals, horns, all that on top. And as I play, you'll hear the differences. That's when I play it lightly. If I play it a little higher with velocity, we now trigger the timpani, drums, and the cymbals that you heard in the background. I can also go ahead and create a brand new performance. I want to take a piano, strings, and bass line and do splits and layers, something that's commonly found in most other keyboards. We can do on the fly here. So I'm starting with my piano sound. And now I want to layer strings. I simply go ahead and add a sound. I could come to what's called the category search. I can select my sounds by groupings of piano, keyboards, organs, bass, guitars, so on and so forth. So it's very easy to find the exact sound you want. I'm going to come here, pick strings, and find a medium ensemble. So now you can hear both piano and strings. From there, I'm going to go ahead and add a bass sound. I'm going to give it a stand-up bass. So now we have all 3 sounds there, but I want to do a split. So I'm going to tell the bass sound I want it to come from C2 or C1 to B2. And I'm going to cut the strings and start them on C3. So now you'll hear the piano throughout, the bass on the left hand, and the strings and piano on the right hand. And of course, since I could layer up to 4 sounds, I have 4 different faders that I can at any time mix those sounds together. So if I want to bring in the strings lower or the bass, I can then go ahead and complete my performance. Both the voice and performance modes are the 2 main modes of playing the individual instruments throughout the keyboard. You have 62 notes of polyphony. What that means is 62 notes you can be played at once, stacked together, layered, however you see fit. That's also expandable with added options later, like expansion cards. We have what are called plug-in expansions that not only add more sounds, but more polyphony and more effects. It's something unique to Yamaha and specifically the Motif series keyboard. So now that we have all these great voices we can play music with, you can now bring them into the sequencer. And the sequencer is something that's very unique about the Motif. It really helped the Motif go into the next level of workstations right after the year 2000 when it came out. What it allowed it to do is integrate both MIDI and audio into a 16-track sequencer. Now the sequencer, you have 16 tracks. Any or all of them can be MIDI or audio. So MIDI meaning any of the sounds in here, or I have an A to D input in the back that I could plug a microphone, a guitar, or any other instrument I see fit, record into the sample memory, which you can expand this up to 64 megabytes of sample memory. You could record that into here and use the onboard effects, apply it to your vocals, for example, and record a song. I'm going to play something that you'll be able to hear. This was all done completely on the Motif. Okay, so what you heard there was all internal sounds with the exception of two instruments, the lead vocal and a guitar sound, which a real guitar was played into the Motif. What the Motif is able to do, much like many software programs out there, is to record a piece of audio, read it, and then cut it up into different sections. So for example, the guitar part was cut up between an octave, so it can now be slowed down or sped up, and it just cut it onto individual keys. When we hit play on the recorder, it plays through those and it syncs in perfect time to the music. That's an example of what you can do on song mode. But the real power of the Motif comes from our pattern mode. Pattern mode, we looked at everything differently on how you would record. It is nonlinear recording. You might have a verse or a chorus or a bridge that you created, but you don't know where you want it to fit in the music yet or what kind of mix you want to do. You now have the ability to create different sections and remix them in real time. Here's an example of the ability to take different sections, up to 16 of them, and switch them back and forth to remix your music. This is my first section, this drum beat. I can quickly have it jump to this section, or I may say, I want to bring it to here. On the fly, as I push the buttons, it changes the different sections. And it's always in sync. It always makes the section changes at the right time, right on top of the measure. The Motif 6 offers 84 megabytes of high-quality sounds along with 16 track sequencing for recording your MIDI and audio integration, as well as remote control features to run such programs as Cubase, Sonar, Digital Performer, and Pro Tools.